Alex is the host, but it's okay. Ok, Miki, tu ci sei?
Sì, mi devi accettare la condivisione.
Yes, ok. I cannot, Michaelis, Alex, Michela, can we host? Ok, Michela, try.
Non in questa, è nell'altro account collegato.
Michela Artus. The name is Michela Artus. There are two Michelas.
There are two, there are two Michela.
Artuso. Yeah.
Yeah.
Both Michelas have access now.
Okay, yes.
Great.
Okay. Can you see?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So basically, I can start. Our group, Italian group, analyzed the complex community of Castellammare. Castellammare is a city on the coast of the Campania region, not so far from Napoli, not so far from Pompeii. It's between Pompeii and Napoli and the beautiful seaside of Sorrento coast and the Amalfi coast. So what we can do, we can say about Castellammare that it has a unique position. Basically, it's on the sea, but also it's close to the Monti Lattari mountain, a local mountain that offers a lot of opportunities, not only for tourists, but also for the economy. And after that, we are starting to analyze the physical aspects. So what Castellammare has? First of all, Castellammare had, let's say, not has thermal baths and mineral water establishment. That's because the thermal baths are closed now. Castellammare was really famous about the mineral water they produce it, they bring from the ground and they sell it. They say that their water has many benefits for the people, for the health. But now the thermal baths are closed, and also the local train station called the Castellammare Thermal Bath is closed. It's really, unfortunately, it's really a bad thing because this is one of the most important thermal baths in the coast between Napoli and Sorrento. After that, Castellammare has some physical assets that work now. One is the cable car that connects the city, the main station of Circumvesuviana, that is the railway that connects Castellammare to the city of Napoli, Pompeii, and Sorrento, to the Monte Faito, a local mountain that is really important for the, let's say, natural tourism and many reasons. Well, the other thing is the Tranvia. Tranvia was, like I say, a local connection in the city. For many years, let's say the railway, this city railway was used for transportation for the economy of the city. Now it's not used yet, but the idea could be to restore this type of railway, local railway, to become a touristic transportation. Can move.
So
yeah, thank you, Michela. You can, okay.
When we analyze the cultural and the aesthetic assets, we choose 3 different words or keywords: handicraft, traditions, and history. So for the first one, for us, handicrafts means process and creativity. Process, like the process which the product is arrived at, not just the final products. For example, we analyzed sea biscuit or sailor's biscuits. The names come from the fact that the ancient sailor of Castellammare di Stabia uses to take stock of them with them on long sea crossing. And in the second time, we analyzed the reason why Castellammare is so-called the City of Waters. It has 28 mineral water springs with the different chemical compositions and flavors. So for us, creativity is the creativity of people, how local people is creative, for example, with the pastors inside the Cathedral of Santa Maria Assunta, and in particular case with the San Catello statues. The legends say that only half of the San Catello school was found, so current stage is a reproduction to the local people imagined. With the second word, traditions, we want to talk about the relationship between religiosity and culture. We analyzed the San Catello Fest because we have one, the Immaculate Conception bonfire. So the night of 7 December, the bonfire of the Immaculate Conception are lit in various districts of the town, preceded by another ritual. So in relationship with the Immaculate Conception, we have fratelli and sorelle, in English, brothers and sisters, are a group of religious people to devotion to the Madonna of Immaculate Conception. And the last thing is Torrone dei Morti, given as gift during the festivities of dead. This is a tribute intended to exorcise anguish and the death-trapped food, and it's the symbol of the art. So the last word is history, like historical identity of Castellammare di Stabia in the people of Castellammare di Stabia. We analyzed the historical structure. For example, we have two different villas in Roman villas in Castellammare, Villa Arianna and Villa San Marco, they are conserved perfectly after the last eruption of Vesuvius. We have two different thermal baths, actually are closed, but where the location of the 28 different type of water. The castle, it gives the name to the town, Castello a Mare. In the past was an open structure, but unfortunately it's not visitable anymore because it's private. You can go there just for the wedding, for example. We have Reggia di Quisisana. The first time was in a royal resort, but now it's just a museum, like a modern museum. You can go there. And the last thing is the Roman waterworks. It's open and you can find there just one of the 28 type of mineral water that called Acqua della Madonna. So Roberta?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So the word that we think best represents human assets is cohesion. By this word, we mean the lack of communication and cooperation, both up-down process from institutions to citizens and bottom-up from association to institution. Social cohesion means the set of behavior and bonds to affinity and solidarity between individuals for communities, aim at mitigating in a constructive way to disparities linked to social, economic, cultural, and ethnic situation. We think there is a problem of cooperation among the institution's members and Castellammare citizens each other. We think Castellammare citizens have not a sense of community membership. They lack of a sense of strong identity within it. But just as the citizens do not have this great sense of belonging, the city itself does not make it easy to get close to them. Thinking about how to improve the daily lives of its citizens, its inhabitants, is the first step toward making a better place to live. For example, when a Castellammare citizen goes abroad, He's always proud to be Stabiese, but when the same citizen is within his own community, he is not so moved by the same spirit of belonging. It's like they recognize as citizen of Castellammare only outside the town and not inside the same town. So, in conclusion, we have a question for you. How can we build a sense of identity and membership for them? How can we make a Stabiese proud to be a Stabiese even within his hometown? And with this question, I pass the word to my colleague Marcello.
Hello, and here we are talking about the institutional assets and talking about the public institution. As you already have seen, we can see the Villa Comunale, the communal villa, and the public gardens, the Quisisana Royal Palace and the Archaeological Museum, and the thermal baths. But also we highlighted also the community associations that are many, we can say, and we just mentioned a few of them. For example, the Rotary Club, which is an organization of representatives of a wide variety of economic and professional activities that work together worldwide to render a humanitarian service to society. I think that maybe in some of the places in your nations exist the Rotary Club too. Then there is the Youth Forum of Castellammare that contributes to promoting the full development of the human person through initiatives aimed at removing the economic and social obstacles that restrict the freedom and equality of citizens. Helping the community people to how can I say to express their needs and their demands to the public and to the institutional side of the city, which is a city of almost 70,000 people in of course near Naples. And one of the things that we wanted to highlight is that the community associations such as the AIRAS, which is the association that we are working with here in Castellammare, and for example the Città Viva and the Youth Forum Castellammare have tried lots of times to propose a different kind of politics and living a social life very different from what is proposed from the institutional side, because you have to know that the City Council of Castellammare from 2004 until now is being temporary receiverships every 2 years. And just like 3 weeks ago, it was dissolved, the City Council of Castellammare, because of Camorra connections. And we think this is maybe the deepest and the strongest problem to the development of the city and to the development of the ideas about this city that also we are analyzing. Because in conclusion, as we also highlighted, the municipality of Castellammare is not stable enough to guarantee the citizens and tourists the protection and the enhancement of Castellammare's historical, human and economic heritage and assets. And a little bit in contrast of what we said before, we also think that the community, the efforts of the Stabia peoples is not sufficiently rewarded, because there is a movement, there is something that there are people that want to move and want to change the situations, but from the top, so in terms of the institutional side, it's coming to be very, very hard to reach and to also just propose these kind of things. And so I'm passing the word to, I don't remember. Or did we, is it the economic assets? I don't remember who is in charge of them.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry,
Castellammare. We are not so about this economic assets, Castellammare has a various selection of economic assets. In fact, tourism, industry, agriculture, and fishing and port activity. Okay, next slide. going more in specific, tourism is very important. It's not about the thermal bath. It's not about the archaeological excavation, because in Castellammare there are two very important Roman villas that are ancient buildings that you can live the ancient Roman community. It's also close to Pompeii, Sorrento, and Napoli. So it's really important about the tourism of the whole region. About the industry, Castellammare has one of the most important shipyards in Italy that is founded in 1783, and it's really important because here they built the famous Amerigo Vespucci, that is a majestic ship that is very important in Italy. About the agriculture, Castellammare, like other cities in Italy, has a lot of productions, like northern suburbs. In the northern suburbs, there are flowers, peaches, apricots, and also typical products like the Tito apricots. And there are also wines, fruits, and local peppers. So like all the Mediterranean area, it's really important. About the fishing and the port activity, Castellammare has an important port that you can find many products, and fishing represents important asset, economic assets for the community of Castellammare, so not only. So you can say that economically speaking, Castellammare is one of the most important cities in the area. Okay, so moving to the conclusion, we really thank you for the section. We say that we just analyzed all the complex situation in Castellammare. We found out that there is a potential between the community that is really not so put in that section from the politics. That is a really problem here. But we think that using the material we have in the project and using all the community or the connection in the community, we can find out a really good strategy. So thank you for the attention, and we move to the next group.
Okay, thank you, Valentino. Thank you, guys. Excellent work. In this case, I think that we appreciate a lot your analysis also about some controversial elements. One of these is the politics of the city, and so a place with a great local asset, but also with great local problems. And so in this framework, Cyrcle can be for real a very innovative way to create something, changing also the system that currently is affecting, unfortunately, Castellammare. So guys, thank you so much. And now we move to the final group. We move to the final presentation. And it's not the case that this is the final presentation, because the final presentation is from Kenya, is from our friends from Kenya. But why is the last? Because in 20 days, we will meet, or some of us meet in Kenya. So please, guys, great attention. Julius, it's the turn of your group. We are all excited to hear from you guys. So you can start.
Hello. Thank you so much. So I'll give this opportunity to Jack, who will lead us. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so I'll be leading the Kenyan team as we make this presentation, as we deal mostly with the Maragoli and Bunyore communities. So we are in Vihiga County, which is located in the western region of Kenya. It borders Nandi to the east and Kisumu County to the south. It has a total of like 4 counties, 5 constituencies, which are Rwanda, Emuhaya, Hamisi, Sabatia, and Vihiga. It consists of the Maragoli, Banyore, and Tiriki. So let me talk a little bit about their culture, which is their way of life. There's someone's microphone. Okay, let me talk a little bit about their culture, which is their way of life. Some of the traditions that these communities still uphold. They tend to believe in things like circumcision and initiation, where the men are taken somewhere, like in a forest, a place of seclusion. Then once the rites is over, they're able to come back and there's a celebration that takes place. But with modernity, some of these cultures are being rolled away. Then we also have ceremonies like the memorial ceremonies, which take place after maybe like someone has died as a sign of respect for the dead. Then there are also some traditions regarding marriage where we still uphold things like dowry, which is can be paid in form of money or animals as an appreciation to the lady's parents. There are also traditions like name giving, where children in these particular areas are named basing on sometimes the place of birth, timing of birth, or situation. For example, there are names like Kisia, which are named to a person who was born after maybe twins. So in regard to our handicrafts, most of these people in Vihiga County, where mostly we are basing on these two communities, are skilled in handicraft making. They mostly make baskets, basket weaving, and we also have mats. Then we also make things like woven carrier bags. We can also mold pots. And since Vihiga County is mostly rocky, most of these communities have things like quarries. So people like the Banyore practice rocks and stone harvesting, where most of these stones are used for construction. Then there's also the part of where the rocks that are being mined can also be sold. We also have trained most of these communities in rocket stoves, which are traditional jikos that use firewood, but it's a way of conserving firewood, so you don't tend to use a lot of firewood. We also make some traditional jikos from scrap metal and clay. So you're able to mold mostly from the local things that are in the community to be able to come up with something that is sustainable for the community. So when they make things like the jikos, they are able to sell some of these jikos and they can also be used locally. Then in terms of the social aspect, Vihiga County is an amazing tourist attraction. We have things like Kibiru forests. We also have rocks. We have Maragoli hills. We also have caves where most of these caves are conserved like worship places where people currently can be able to go and worship in some of these places. Then they also have some of the caves where the Maragoli people believe that some of the prominent people who came up with the Maragoli tribe came from these areas. So these places are good for tourists attraction and tourist activities. In Bunyore, we have places like the Msekwe Hills, which hosts like the traditional rainmakers. So if you're around, you can be able to go and visit. Then most of these places are also good for sightseeing, bird watching. You can also be able to take a hike in some of these places. I would also like to welcome some of my team members to be able to contribute to other things. Thank you.
Nicholas.
Julius. Hello.
Nicholas, can you hear us?
Nicholas.
Julius? Okay, guys, just while we are attending, just to inform you that during the mobility in Kenya, we work exactly with about the promotion of the local tourism in Bunyore and Maragoli community. So this is exactly what we are going to implement in practice during the transnational meeting in Kenya. So can you understand the importance from this point of view about the the development of a strategy in terms of promotion of handicraft.
Excuse me? There's one addition. We have Jackie, yeah.
Yes.
There's one addition. There's also some cultural festivals that are held in the Maragoli Cultural Festival, mostly conducted yearly.
Okay.
Is this my microphone?
This is Nicholas. Okay, Nicholas.
Hello.
Okay.
Okay.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm Nicholas. I also come from the Maragoli tribe of Kenya. We come from the western. We live in the western parts of Kenya. Here we have got very many kind of different cultural activities. Like we have got wedding ceremonies that we normally conduct here, where the woman comes from her parents, and goes to the house of the man, and then you pay something like just an appreciation to the parents of the woman. And also here we are surrounded by hills. We've got very many big rocks. So those 20 days that we've been talking about, when we'll be here in Kenya, we'll have a walk there and we'll be able to see the big rocks that we've never seen them. And you see the birds, you see the monkeys and everything around here. And mainly we live close to the rivers, where we normally get for the clay for making our pots, the black clay. So we mold the pots. Then after molding, we make them to dry a little bit. After they dry, then we can use dry grass to burn them in order to make them more strong, so that they cannot break when you put in some water. Because those are our local fridge. We don't use electric fridge. We use pots for keeping our cold water for drinking. Yeah, and also we use the pots for going to fetch water from the wells, because very many communities here doesn't have piped water to their houses, so they need to go to the rivers to fetch water using the pots. And also we have got the baskets. We normally make the baskets, bigger baskets, maybe for covering our chicken when they are in the house. We cover them so that wild animals cannot come and eat them. So those are our main activities that we normally do around here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nicholas. Julius, I don't know if you want to add something, or someone else from your team. Julius, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, Peter.
Thank you, Julius, and thank you, Jackie, for the presentation. I'll just add something small about what I've said, because the Vihiga County, where these 2 or 3 communities are based, as we say, is a land of diverse landscapes. By landscapes, we mean you will see a lot of valleys, a lot of hills, maybe a lot of rocks, and those of you who will come over to this place, I think you'll have an opportunity to see them. And these ones have a lot of maybe traditional and economic meanings to them. And as Jackie alluded to it earlier, so most of these communities trace their origins to those hills. I think you will see some caves where it's believed the origin of maybe the Maragoli and the Bunyore came from, and maybe the descendants currently, they came from those caves. The economic value to the community has not been realized as such, and therefore there is need for maybe various players, maybe political, economic, local, to see to it that some of these areas are able to benefit the community economically. For example, you will see a lot of rocks around, and these rocks are present in almost many of these farms that you will see maybe on the hills. And because of those rocks, you might not be able to do something like agricultural, maybe planting of trees or planting of food crops. So the best that can help is to have those rocks maybe harvested in terms of building materials, in terms of probably tiles that can help in building materials and maybe building of highways, then they can generate a lot of money for the community. But I know right now the government of Kenya and the local Vihiga County government are trying to come up with a factory not far from where we are, which is called a granite factory, that's going to grind those rocks to benefit the locals. But it's still something on paper. It has not yet been put into practice. We hope in future it can actually be able to help with the local community. Some of the local assets we have also are the handcrafts. My colleagues have also talked about the pots, maybe the baskets, the handbags that are done from the local materials. But again, because of modernization and the importation of these products, people are going away from them. In the past, we could keep water in some of those pots. We could also cook in those pots. But with the advent of modern materials, assets, most of them which are actually imported into the country, I can say maybe 90% of the people have moved from that. But again, if we can preserve our culture and go back to those pots and those hand-woven maybe baskets, this can actually be able to improve the local economy. Some of them, we can actually export them. We can actually help the community to raise some money. We have some natural tourist attractions like the forest that we talked about, the hills, where this, we talk of our descendants came from. Again, we have some rocks. If you walk around, like there's a rock that it is believed Jesus Christ actually stepped on that rock. And when you look at it closely, you're able to see footsteps on a rock. Ideally, it is not possible to have footsteps on a rock. You could only see them maybe on a bare land, maybe when it has rained, but actually footsteps on that rock with some in writings on the rock with some foreign languages that no one is able to understand up to date. So that one is also one of the tourist attractions that we believe can generate some income for the community. And again, that can help in terms of promoting our culture locally, nationally, and even internationally. So that's what we believe. And the county where these communities are actually sandwiched in between two international airports. One is Kisumu International Airport, which is about 30 kilometers away, and Eldoret International Airport, about 70 kilometers away. So these two airports can actually help in terms of promoting this tourism, maybe exporting this some of the local products that we can be able to manufacture, and even marketing the economic and the social assets that we're having here as a community. Thank you so much. Julius, you can proceed.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Peter. We are very much happy, guys, to welcome you to Kenya in almost 3 weeks' time. We'll be having you here in our community, and you'll be able to see some of these things practically. And there's also a cultural dance, which they have not mentioned. It is called Isikuti. So those people will be coming to Kenya, you will definitely dance that dance. You'll have to be part of it for you to be completely immersed in Kenya here. So it's also one of the things that we cherish. We just have local drums that are made locally, and there's guys playing it, and we join, just freestyle and dance. So thank you, Antonio. That is our presentation from our part, and you are very much welcome to Kenya. On 3rd April, we are looking forward to receiving you guys here, and I hope you enjoy your stay in Kenya. Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata. Guys, okay, guys, thank you so much. I think that we cannot wait to fly in your fantastic and amazing country. I think that now we have a more clear idea about some tradition that we are going to meet, and in order to create this new touristic strategy. For real, the meeting will be very practical. The program will be very focused, especially with the meeting with the community, about meeting with the community, especially the meeting with for the promotion of the local tourism in Pugnore and Maragoli communities. I hope that I say correctly. And guys, and in general, I think that today is the final step of a first stage of this project. So we started some weeks ago with the e-learning course. We started with some elements, the basic elements for the future Cyrcle model that we are going to design and develop in our communities, and we hope all over the world. Today is a first final step, because now we are closing the stage, because we are discovering the community. So we are entering a new stage of the project. So it's like a step by step, but starting from the next week starts a new stage of the project. Sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. I have two dogs and one cat, so you can imagine. And so next week we will start a new stage of the project, because after discovering the community, we start this new work. Next week we start the design of the model, and starting from the beginning of April, with the first meeting in Kenya, we develop this stage of design and implementation of the model. So the theory is over. The first stage of project is over. Now we enter in the new world, enter in the new stage. It will be very emotional, and I think we will join. So guys, I thank you, especially because we are closing after 10 minutes. So thank you for patience. Thank you for your collaboration. See you next week. Just one thing for the people coming in Kenya, please coordinate with your coordinators about all logistical aspects, about flight tickets, about vaccination, about everything, because this is very important, because we are starting also the mobility, and all the organizational aspects are very important. So please coordinate always with your organization staff. If you have doubt, don't hesitate to ask them for everything. So I recommend you about this. And okay, guys, thank you so much. We see you next week, and have a good weekend. Bye. But before, a final pick.
Photo.
Okay. So guys, as usual, let my 1, 2. Wait, okay. So 1, 2, and 3. And just wait, because I want to make a second photo, because we are a lot of people today. And 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Perfect, guys. Thank you so much. See you next week.
Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend, guys.
Bye.
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 Have a great weekend.
Bye. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Bye.
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 Bye bye.
Antonio, we have a meeting with Julius, and Antonia.
Lore, are we going to stay here to have a
Yes.
meeting with?
Yes.
Okay, Alex.
Yes.
Alex.